So if you have been around here for more than a hot minute, then you know I love trying out new hydroponic systems. I talk about AeroGarden and RiseGarden, and I just started testing out some Click and Grow, but I was pretty excited when I had a new company, LetPot. They reached out and gave me this new system to try. So I have not even opened it. We are going to do that together. We'll do an unboxing and first impressions, and then I'll be doing some follow-up videos to let you guys know my feedback after I've actually used it for a while, because this is brand new to me. We are going to see it for the first time together, but I will be testing it out with some of my micro tomatoes to see how they grow in the system, and then we'll see how it compares to probably the AeroGarden Bounty. Seems like the most obvious comparison because they're both bigger units. Let's get to the unboxing and see what comes with this unit. First off, we have some paperwork. There seems to be two types of plant food, and they give the different breakdown of what is in them. We have a user manual going through everything, but this is boring. I want to get into the box. All right, so I'm going to give you guys the view that I see. So we have a nice display, it looks like. Whole bunch of buttons. We'll have to figure out what they do. So I'm going to put you guys down for a second and get this bad boy out of the box. This is the unit. So it looks like this is the light. I'm going to assume the foam is here, and we'll lift this up. It's pretty big. Let's see if I can get my handy dandy tape measure, and we'll take some dimensions. Front to back, it is just about, there's 10 inches. And then in the other direction, we have 14.5. It's quite big. Just push up on the light and it does go up. And then the foam should slide right out. Holy doodle, there are a lot of holes in here. So we've got our little plug over here. We're gonna put our nutrients, or perhaps our genie, but I'm gonna assume it's nutrients and water. 21 holes on here. You guys probably know what I'm going to say. Do not plant all the holes. I would not recommend it. I never plant all the holes because the plant babies always look so tiny at the beginning, and then they take over and you have a disaster. It will be interesting to see if there are any covers for these holes. They look to be about the same size as the AeroGarden ones, so I'm going to assume that you could use the AeroGarden covers. I will go find some in a second and we will test it out. Also, if you don't have the AeroGarden covers, I'll put the link down below if you want to pick them up, but you do not need to use those at all. And you could also use golf balls or anything that's just going to be opaque and block the light, because at any time in a hydroponic system where we have nutrients, water, and light, we have the chance to get algae. So if we are not using any of the holes, we want to make sure to cover them to take the light out of the equation and hopefully prevent a dreaded algae bloom. So far the construction seems good on it. So let's take a look at this grow deck. Okay, the grow deck is pretty simple underneath. It does have a lot of ridges and nubs. It's going to be a little bit harder to clean, would be my guess. You guys can see all of that. It's not flat underneath, which is one of the things I love about the Rise. They are so easy to clean, and this is going to be easier to clean than an AeroGarden deck that you have to pull apart, but it's probably going to shred anything you are using to clean this. So wish it was flat, but we will work with what we have. They have also given baskets. They look very much like the AeroGarden ones, though honestly, they feel better quality. Then we have the grow domes. They're definitely a lot shorter than the AeroGarden ones, so you're really gonna have to be watching, because you only want the domes to be on there to help with the germination by increasing the humidity, but you do not want your leaves to touch the domes. There's some moisture, the light can actually, it works as like a magnifying glass and it can burn the leaves, and we don't want that. We have some tubing. We'll figure out what we do with that. So you can definitely hear that plant food A and plant food B are definitely solid nutrients. So that's why we're going to be adding in the purified water to turn these back into a liquid. Then we have some of the little grow pods. Again, they look pretty much like the AeroGarden ones. There is a pump in here. So we should have the plug adapter, the sponges, the baskets, the germination covers, the solid nutrients A, B, and a transparent pipe. So we have all the pieces. This is a good start. So apparently there is normal mode and automatic mode. So in normal mode, you're going to mix 25 mils of A and B into a jug with 5 liters of water and stir completely. And then you pour that in through the cover there. But there's also an automatic mode. All right. We are not going to use automatic mode to start. I'm going to have to do some more investigating on this. To set it up now, just to kind of get things going and show you guys what's going on, we are just going to use the regular mixing of nutrients and pouring it in. But I'm definitely going to come back to that in a future video because I really want to understand the difference and what's going on there. They also have an app, which is kind of cool, so I'm going to install that and then see what is in there. There's definitely more here. So in order to give you guys the right information, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to go through this book in more detail, play around with the app, and then I'm going to jump back on here later on. And we will continue with the setup. So it's another day, I am back and we are going to continue the setup. So after going through all the instructions on the normal or manual mode versus the automatic, we are just going to leave the automatic for another day. I really want to play around with it and there's a lot going on with that. Because of that, the tubing that comes with it, I'm not going to need this right now. I'm going to put it in a safe place in this drawer. So for this video, I'm not going to touch on any of the actual planting and how to do that. I'm going to do a separate video because I want to go through all my micro tomato seeds, which is what I'm going to be planting here, so I will be doing a follow-up video. Next thing that I need to do is to take these guys, the A and B nutrients, get them all hydrated so I can mix up the right proportion of water that can go into the tank so that I can turn it on without burning out the pump, and then we can play around with the display and see what is going out there, check out how bright the light is. Now in terms of what water you use, other than using well water, you can use pretty much whatever works for you. There are people that swear by distilled water and will only use that. There are other people like me that just end up using tap water. I haven't had any horrible effects from it. I'll probably do an experiment comparing like the distilled water to the tap water in my AeroGarden sprouts to see if there's any difference. But you do you when it comes to the water that you are going to use. Just looking at the instructions for the A and B nutrients, it does mention using the purified water to fill the bottles. So I guess I'll go downstairs and grab some Brita water and just use that. Mix these ones up, but then the rest of the water is just going to be from the tap. All right, so giving these a good shake. I do like these little bottles. The cap doesn't just come off. You have to unscrew this. You have a little nozzle in there. There's actually a little piece of cardboard in there that I'm going to have to remove, but I wanted to get it all shaken up first. So for the manual mode, we are going to be using 25 milliliters of A and 25 milliliters of B in 5 liters of water. We're going to fill up the unit, and then I am pretty excited to turn this bad boy on and see what it can do. So there are measurements there on the side that you guys can use, or you guys know I love using little syringes for nutrients, so that is another option as well. And I'm going to keep my A and my B cap separate and make sure I'm only using the A for the A and the B for the B, because sometimes when you're mixing different nutrients together, they can solidify. So the A kind of has a yellowish tinge to it. The B is pretty clear. So that's 15, and we'll do another 10. All right. We are good to turn this on, guys. I'm so excited. So that was a very long and sustained beep, which kind of freaked me out for a second, but it stopped. So I'm going to assume that everything is okay. You guys can see the pump is there and running. And if I turn this around, that is where the float is that tells you how high the water can go. Seems like this thing is going to hold maybe even 10 liters. We'll see once I pour it all in. I also noticed if you don't like fingerprints, there are a lot of them already on here. But all in all, not a bad unit. And the screen definitely goes off. You just have to touch it and then it comes back on. This is a pretty good display so far. I'm quite impressed. It's better than anything I've seen on an AeroGarden. Now I don't have some of the newer, fancier Bounty models or Harvest models, so I can't say that there isn't one that is this fancy, but so far it's not too bad. So I think I'm gonna need to go ahead and get this connected through the app on my phone. There's a first screen saying that there are no devices, so I'm going to add. There it is, it's picked it up. It's connected to the pot, and now it's asked me to choose my Wi-Fi, which I have. Oh, we have a Wi-Fi symbol. You can see the system there. It tells me the temperature and that there's not much water, and it's got all the different settings on there. It's a pretty good app. Oh, I just turned down the lights from the app. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm really liking this. I love getting new systems, because there's all the potential of what you could grow in it. I cannot wait to get my micro tomatoes in here. In terms of my first impressions for the unboxing and setup of this LetPot system, this is the LPH-MAX. I'm pretty impressed, guys. I love that it's got a huge reservoir. I love that I can change the lighting, control everything through the app, which actually seems like a pretty cool app. There seems to be a lot of features on this thing. It seems pretty customizable. I'm going to play around with it and use it for a little bit, get it all planted up with those micro tomatoes. If you're struggling with ideas of what to grow in your own units, I have some dwarf varieties that I love, and you can check them out in this video over here.